Midnight silence hangs heavy over the old English motorway. Thick fog, rolling in like a living thing, swallowing every curve of the damp asphalt. Glints of pale light reflect on the wet surface as an ancient lorry rumbles down the endless stretch of road, its headlights slicing through the murk. The world outside seems suspended, a hush broken only by the low hum of the engine and the distant, restless wind. Alone behind the wheel sits William, a man whose long-haul journeys have accustomed him to solitude and the quiet mysteries of the night. Tonight, however, something shifts in the atmosphere, an unease settling in the pit of his stomach, as if the darkness itself is watching. The motorway stretches on. William finds his mind drifting to the monotony of years spent on these roads. The radio is silent, and the occasional glimmer of passing road signs. Yet, from the edge of his vision, shapes seem to move in the fog, shadows that dance and vanish before he can focus. Then, suddenly up ahead, emerging from the swirling mist, a figure appears. It stands motionless in the center of the road, just a shadow at first, silent. Instinctively, William's hands grip the wheel tighter, his heart pounding faster. He squints, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. The lorry's headlights paint the fog with an eerie glow, revealing the silhouette in sharper detail. A lone figure, unmoving, as if rooted to the slick tarmac, and heedless of the approaching vehicle. William leans forward, eyes wide, senses pricking with ancient fear. He slams his foot on the brake, the tires screeching against the wet asphalt, and blasts the horn, the sound echoing into the night. The lorry shudders, slowing just in time to avoid a collision. For a moment, everything hangs in stillness, the fog swirling, the figure standing, the world holding its breath. As the lorry grinds to a halt, the headlights illuminate the stranger. The face comes into view, pale skin stretched taut over sharp bones, hollow black eyes that seem to drink in the light, and a half smile, curving lips that are neither friendly nor sane. William gapes, voice trembling as he whispers,
"God almighty, that's not human."
A sudden gust of wind rattles the cab, and faint whispers seem to seep through the glass, chilling his spine. Instinct takes over. William yanks the wheel, swerving violently. The lorry lurches, tires shrieking, engine roaring as he fights to regain control. When he finally straightens out and looks back, the road is empty again. No trace of the figure, no sign that anything had ever stood there. Yet the fear remains, pulsing through his veins, settling deep inside him like a sickness from which there is no escape. Hours pass, the motorway winding away behind him. The fog thins, replaced by the lonely countryside. A patchwork of hedgerows and fields, moonlight barely touching the distant trees. William's nerves are frayed, his hands shaking as he clutches a worn charm strung around his neck, its silver surface tarnished but comforting. He pulls off at a roadside inn, a squat building with faded bricks and dim yellow lights glowing in the windows. The car park is empty, and the place seems to breathe with old secrets. Inside, the inn is quiet. The scent of damp wood and old tea fills the air. The only other patron is a man sitting alone in the corner, sipping tea from a chipped porcelain cup. He's dressed in a dark suit, his features sharp, eyes normal yet unnaturally focused, like a predator idly waiting. William hesitates, then orders a cup of tea himself, seeking warmth and distraction. As he settles at a table, The mysterious man glances up, a smile flickering across his lips.
What's the matter, driver? You look pale. Met a ghost on the motorway, did you?
His voice is soft, but it carries a tone that hints at knowing more than he should. William stiffens, startled by the stranger's words.
How do you know that?
He asks, voice barely above a whisper. The stranger's gaze sharpens, eyes glinting in the half-light, as he gestures for William to join him. They sit together, the table between them cluttered with half-empty cups and a newspaper folded to an old headline about a murder years past. The stranger leans in, lowering his voice.
Your breath is shallow, hands are shaking, and that charm you're clutching, as if your life depends on it.
William's fingers tighten around the charm, knuckles white. He shudders.
Out there, I saw someone, black eyes, like death itself.
The inn's lights flicker, the atmosphere shifting, as if the shadows themselves have drawn closer. The stranger's smile twists, darker now, a cold amusement in his eyes.
Years ago, a man was murdered on that road. His soul never left, and no one passes peacefully, he whispers.
William's breath catches. The room seems to close in, the walls pressing tighter.
Who are you?
He asks, voice trembling. The stranger's eyes suddenly turn completely black, the pupils vanishing into an abyss. The air grows colder, and the world tilts, as if reality itself is warping.
Why are you afraid, driver?
The voice is no longer soft, but cold, echoing with something ancient and cruel. William recoils, horror etched on his face.
It was you? On the road?
A thunderclap splits the night. Glass, somewhere in the inn, shatters with a faint, eerie sound. The stranger rises, his form shimmering, then dissolving into tendrils of smoke that twist and whirl through the air. William's legs refuse to move, rooted to the spot as the spectre fades from sight. A strong gust of wind rushes through, carrying with it a whisper
You can't escape.
that chills William to the bone. Alone once more, William's senses reel as he tries to flee, but his body betrays him. The charm against his chest begins to smolder, burning with unnatural heat. Smoke rises, curling against his skin. He screams, a raw, desperate cry for help that echoes through the empty inn.
What's happening to me?
The burning intensifies, the sensation searing through flesh and bone. The charm glows red, then black, as if drawing something out of him. The air thickens, the shadows deepening. Black mist spreads across the floor, creeping up the walls, swirling around William's convulsing body. His limbs jerk violently, his face contorted in agony. That dark shadow was forcing its way into William's body. The voices in the mist deepen, echoing through the room, mingling with the howling wind. William's screams grow hoarse, his hands clawing at the charm, trying to tear it away, but it refuses to budge, anchored as if by fate itself. The mist envelops him, choking the light, swallowing every sound except the echoing voices that speak in tongues he cannot understand. The wind rattles the windows, the room shudders, and the world seems to tilt further, reality thinning, unraveling at the edges. At last, the agony subsides. William's body grows still, his breath shallow, eyes fluttering open. He stands, a hollow shell, and staggers over to a dusty mirror hanging on the wall. The reflection reveals the truth. His eyes once blue and kind, are now pools of black, bottomless, hungry. A faint smile curls his lips, cold and unnatural.
This body was mine now.
He whispers, the words twisting through the air like smoke. William's soul is gone, forever trapped inside the smouldering charm, its surface etched with the echo of agony. On the motorway, something new awaits. No longer a man, but a phantom, born of midnight terror and restless vengeance. And so, the legend grows. Each night as the fog rolls in, travelers whisper of the black-eyed spectre haunting the lonely stretches of road. The engine hums, the asphalt glistens, and somewhere in the darkness, a new shadow waits, smiling in the silence. William's story becomes a warning, a tale passed from driver to driver, of a soul lost on the midnight motorway, and a curse that never dies. On that endless road, where headlights cut through the mist and the world seems to freeze in fear, the phantom stands ready. The silence deepens, the wind howls, and the inn lies empty, save for the memory of William's final, desperate scream. The charm glimmers faintly, a prison for a soul that will never rest. The laughter of the spectre echoes, growing fainter as the night stretches on, until only the rushing wind remains and the motorway sleeps beneath its shroud of fog. This is where the story ends, and where it always begins again. A midnight encounter, a haunted road, and the eternal question whispered in the darkness. Who will be the next to meet the black-eyed stranger on the foggy English motorway? And who will escape if escape is even possible? For some roads are cursed, and some souls are doomed to wander forever, trapped between worlds, lost in the shadows where midnight never truly ends.